speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, it's the Late Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. Oh, you know what? It's great to be back.
Yeah, man, it is, isn't it? A lot to get off your chest.
Indeed. 0344 499 1000. Calls charged at your normal rate. Look, we're going to just introduce our guest co-host straight away, because that's what we do on this show. They are Andrew Eborn, who is a futurist and barrister, and Danielle Nicholls, who is a broadcaster.
Hello. Come on. Love it.
By the way, a futurist is a bit like, remember Mystic Meg? So
It does.
Yeah, you're going to tell my future?
Yeah.
I am. I'm going to show you my crystal balls. We're going to play that sort of a game.
Let's do it.
I love
This is James and Barbara Windsor tonight as our co-guest presenters. So what's on the show, man?
Okay, well, first of all, I think the first story that you want to talk about, Danielle, was this this breaking point story. 700,000 migrants permanently moved to the UK.
That's definitely the story.
Welcome everyone.
What?
I thought we were talking about council tax.
But that's
what it says on my list.
Tax. They had to pay council tax, and it's your fault because you voted Labour.
It is not my fault.
That's what happened. They said it was down to you. It worked on that basis.
It's not my fault that Keir Starmer's a...
Anyway,
What is he?
What is Keir
That's why they've
Starmer?
got to put your council tax up to pay for all these new citizens.
Keir Starmer, he promised change, and the only change people want is the change in their pocket, and that's what he's taking from them.
Well, Keir Starmer is a
He's Captain Flip-Flop for flip flip-flop flip. Women can have penises. Yes, I can. No, they can't. Yes, I can. No,
they can have his, can't they? So you work on that.
Flip-flop flip.
What?
His name is Keir Starmer. He is the new white Obama. Oh, no, let's think on that again. He's Captain Flip-flop for flip-flop flip.
Anyway, this from you one of those clubs you go to.
It's very good, this show, isn't it? Yeah. I've so missed this. It's
okay, okay, Danielle.
Come on, have you done your story yet?
Yes, I know. I don't know. I thought I was talking about council tax.
Okay, Danielle, so on this subject, the reality is Britain is getting poorer because of uncontrolled immigration. Services are under pressure. We've got these increasing council tax. And what is it? Is it £100 a month or £100 a year that they're going to increase it by?
Well, it could go up to £100 a year, basically.
That's on the average. It'll be more.
I think I can tell you how council tax bands work.
Go on, then.
Imagine band D is £100.
Yes.
Then band C will be 75.
Yeah. Oh.
Band B will be 50, and band A will be 25.
Look at you haggling.
The other way, imagine band D is 100.
Yes.
Then band E will be 125.
Yes.
Band F will be 150.
So it goes up in increments of 25%.
Is that
He
right?
used to be the council, didn't he?
He's very good.
He used to be.
It goes all the way to Z. Can you do it?
However, there is something else that's important to bear in mind. Many people don't live in an area where the average property is band D.
No, that's right.
If you live in where I live, in the Royal Borough of Windsor Maidenhead, it's D.8. If you can imagine the mathematics.
Oh,
How did you get a 0.8?
Right, okay, a bit like
It's
having
like nearer to E than a D.
Is that what it was?
I suppose
But I thought you must have like a half letter as opposed to a half number.
So the average property is more likely to be E than D. It's 0.8 if you see.
Is it like the Richter scale, where the next one is actually 10 times more?
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Let's do
So
it
they
like
said
that.
when they brought in...
What you're trying to say is you live in a posh area, that's what you're doing. You're showing
what I'm saying is that when they say an average property goes up by this much, in your area it may well not be an average property.
Oh, you're right. There's no such thing as an average property.
It won't be an average property where you live.
No, none. We get other people to pay it, so it's fine. You work on
You don't live on that Crown estate, do you?
Oh, no, it's amazing, isn't it? No, I live in the third bench on the left in Regent's Park. It's got to be good.
You live on Ulster Place, so you do.
I do. But you're right. It was your fault, and I'm glad you've admitted that, because without that sort of stuff, if you hadn't voted for it...
It's not my fault! I am not admitting this is my fault! What I will say is, if you look at the stats of it, it basically says they're not going to change what the Tories had already done. That's what it says.
But how?
If you read the story...
Answer me this.
They're not going to make it any better.
Answer me this. If they stood on the other side and they complained about absolutely everything, why would they not change it?
There's no reason. I don't know.
There's no reason. Nobody wants
because
it.
They're saying it's the black hole. That's it, everything. If in doubt, let's blame it on the black hole.
But the Tories just carried on with Blairism. They just managed to Blairism, carried it on when they should have reformed it.
Do you know, I was thinking about this, about how badly the country's gone. Do you know, if you were in the United States of America in 2020 and put $100,000 into your bank account, it would have the same buying power today as $60,000.
Is that right?
Yes.
Where'd you get that stat from? You're very good with your stats tonight, aren't you?
But if you were if you were in Peru,
yes,
it would be 15.
I've got a good stat. In 2007, we were a bit richer than the Americans. We could buy a bit more stuff.
Right.
Now we're half as rich as them.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've got a good stat for you. I've got a good stat for you.
The average wage in the States is $65,000. About 50 grand. About 50 grand.
I've got another stat for you.
Go on then.
Listen to this. Yeah. Over the past 5 years, 50,000 people a month have moved to the United Kingdom from abroad and immediately claimed benefits.
Immediately, and they got them.
Day one, benefit claim, 50,000 a month.
Where's the fault? The fault in that is the system allowing them to claim that benefit.
Remember, in the words of, what was it, that guy from the TV show Chernobyl, it's not 50,000 in 1 month, it's 50,000 1 month, then another 50,000, 100,000, then another 50,000, 150,000,
I've got one of my little theories about this, Andre, because they're going mad, aren't they, that basically disability and sick, basically more young people are claiming sick than ever before.
Oh, no, yes, that's
right.
On
the sick, right, okay. And my theory is this, right?
Yes.
They made the benefit system so intricate and complicated in an attempt to supposedly push everybody back into work. And what I believe, because I believe in the power of the mind,
you do.
I think that the easiest way to be able to claim benefits was to be sick. And I don't think that people went out and thought, I'm going to be sick. But psychologically, I think that if you tell yourself you're sick enough, as in, if you go to the doctor and say, I've got a bad back, because you're trying to swizz the doctor or whatever, I think eventually you'll have a bad back.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right.
Do you see what I mean?
Can I say that psychologically said in a northern accent sounds so much better?
Does it?
Do it again.
Psychologically.
See, you've really really there. You're working on basis. But you're right. If you tell people often enough that they're sick, they will turn around and feel sick. So that's what you've got to tell people. It's the power of the mind.
Yes.
You tell people you're feeling great, you're going to work on that basis. I think that young people have got no prospects to become anything or go anywhere or be anything. They're never going to own their own house. They're never going to... They're so trod on that it's like, right, well, I'm just going to claim sickness benefit. Well, they can't own their own house because it's your fault. They have to pay an extra £100. And that's...
No, it is not. It is mortgages. You can't afford to pay them all. You can't afford to get on mortgage.
You can't.
How rich is it? How rich is he? How rich? Have I married the wrong person?
No one.
No, I love it.
Oh, I'm makeup check.
Look at you, your makeup me. I can't.
I'm sorry.
It's always a
Oh, sorry.
Whose show is this? I love it. We're loving it.
By the way, give us a ring 03444991000. You know, if you want to join.
1,000.
I don't think there's any room to join in though.
Too many voices, man.
Too many voices, aren't there?
Right, let's move on.
Timothy has said that he's going to become a nun because under the rules, nuns are exempt from paying council
tax. Isn't that good? We should all become nuns. No, but if they identify as a nun...
They don't pay none.
Oh!
If they identify as a nun, don't kick the habit. If they identify... If they identify as a nun, you cannot challenge them. So in the current rules, where poor people like Alison from the Telegraph get people knocking on their door for a hate crime, people are so scared now of criticising anything. So identify as a nun, you can get off it on that basis.
Yeah, well, I've got a friend of mine, and every time he gets stopped by the police for a little traffic thing, he says to them, look, I just want to say to you, Constable, that I'm fully aware that you have quotas. So obviously, if you stop one black guy, you've got to stop 10 white guys. Right? You've got to get the correct balance, haven't you? He said, with that in mind, I would like to self-define as a Vietnamese boat person.
I think you're perfect. And he got off every time.
And they go, but there's only about one of those in the country, so we're going to have our quotas. So he has single-handedly forced the Metropolitan Police to accidentally discriminate against Vietnamese boat people.
I love it. What a great advice. We should give him a name check. Who is he? What's his name?
His name's Mark. But
what
we should all do, if we ever get stopped by the police, all say we're Vietnamese boat people.
Oh, cool.
I got stopped after
suddenly there'll be a statistical
after the Saturday night show. I got pulled over.
Did you? What did he say?
They said that this is great.
Go on then.
That somebody else had reported that I was driving erratically.
Erotically?
Yeah, erotically.
Well, that's just how you have to drive like that in Manchester because of all the, it's dangerous out there.
It is dangerous out there.
There was two of them, marked police cars. They'd followed me for a period of time, and even they didn't think my driving was erratic. Well, apparently, because someone back in Stoke had a problem with my driving.
How does that work?
I don't know. But there was a guy back in Stoke who was driving like an absolute you-know-what, and I wanted to go, tell you what, well, let's go and find him.
The guy in Stoke.
Do you know, Lynn, some of these people people have come from Stoke. My uncle got stopped by the police once, and they went, "Excuse me, sir, you're driving erratically." He goes, "I always drive erratically." And they went, "Oh," and he went, "No, I'm not drunk. I always drive like that."
He drives very well when he's drunk. No, he does not.
That was the same uncle.
I did have to blow into the tube.
That was the same.
It was all good. I was a zero.
That was the same. That wasn't a tube.
I was waiting for the Bernard Manning gag from the 70s, and there it came. It was like there was the Bernard Manning gag.
That same uncle, he's died now, so I don't think he's going to get into any trouble. But he went to do his driving test, and he arrived in a van he'd bought, and they went, "But Mr. Ray, where are the L plates?" And he went, "Oh shit, I've left them in the pub." Got in the van, drove to the pub, got the tail plates, put them on, and went, "Ready to go now." No.
But it is illegal. And back those days, they used to do that sort of thing.
Oh, people didn't care back in those days.
700,000 permanent migrants have moved in.
Yes.
What's your views on that?
Well, I think it's not nearly enough, is it? I mean, we should have more.
Yeah.
The thing about these stories...
There's still too much British culture, isn't there?
Absolutely.
We've just got to get rid of the last little bit.
And then, in Kilburn, we've got to get rid of that. Yeah. And the principle is that we've got to work out... These stories need to be put in perspective, because some of them are talking about medical people. So if we need it within the system, the NHS and so on and so forth, we need skills. The likelihood is that you're more likely to be treated by a doctor who's a migrant and a legal migrant than you are you're complaining about taking your jobs.
But Andrew, where is the fairness then in going to Bangladesh, a country that is in poverty, and saying, well, OK, we know how expensive it is to train doctors in the UK, so let's not bother doing that. Let's just go to Bangladesh and destroy their health service.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's a fair point. So what we need to do is drill down into those stories. So we need a certain number of migrants to make the economy work. That's the reality. Yes, we do.
Why?
That's the reality, because we don't have enough skilled people here. There are also certain jobs.
Yeah, but like you said, why don't we have enough skilled people?
We should. Yeah. So you need to work out long term. The ideal thing, like any island, is that you train all the people appropriately to do that. Not only to get the skill set, but also jobs that people don't necessarily want to do. And that's the other thing.
But they've got to have our values as well.
They have to. But what are British values now?
Because you don't throw gay people off buildings. You don't subjugate women.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So you don't let those people in. Anyone who thinks like that.
And that's what I love. So the great thing about Trump, there's going to be lots of these sort of things. He's been so clear on this. Slightly misrepresented in the press, because when they're talking about him getting rid of migrants, he's not getting rid of migrants. He's getting rid of illegal migrants.
Yeah.
And people, there was a terrible sloppy journalism when they talked about that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
people say it doesn't matter what the cost is, but it's first of all going to get rid of all the murderers. That's a good start.
I mean, that's amazing, isn't it?
If somebody convicts a crime in your country, they should immediately
go back.
I'll tell you something. There used to be a TV show called Crime Watch.
I remember that.
The reason they got rid of it was the number of migrants to the UK that were coming on all the photo fits. And once again, they were concerned it would upset people to see so many.
I was with Nick Ross the other day. Diversity. He's diverse. I love him. He's a lovely, lovely guy. But it was awful. Do you remember Jill Dando? I mean, she was murdered as a result of that sort of stuff. It was a great programme.
Well, we don't know why she was murdered.
Well, she was on telly and they suspected things. We don't know exactly.
Barry Bulsara, what was his name? Do you remember that
very suspicious circumstances.
Yes, I know. But it's horrible. But it was a useful programme, and people love it. People love crime. This is what
it's crimes.
But the point being was, and I was reviewing some of the older material, it was getting to the stage where it was very clear that there was a crime wave caused by illegal migrants to the UK. And they had this one where they said, oh, this bloke has escaped from a mental facility. Yes. He was born in Afghanistan. He's 21. Yeah. He's been in the mental facility for 3 years after stabbing someone to death. And then they said this other bloke who had come from Romania, and they said, he's failed on his parole violation. Sorry, he's done a parole violation, so he's been recalled to prison. Don't approach him, he's extremely dangerous. Well, why do you let him out?
And then they say, don't have nightmares, and you go, well, why you tell me that then?
Sleep well tonight, Dixon of Dock Green. Remember that. You're working on that sort of base. You're right. And the difficulty is we're not really allowed to call it out anymore. People are so scared of talking out about this sort of stuff. Where basically work on that sort of principle. It is so dangerous now, where you're prosecuting people for thought. And I think, therefore, I am arrested is now the current way of looking at things. That is so wrong.
Well, look, I've always said that that Britain is becoming increasingly like Iran. And what I mean in saying it's becoming increasingly like Iran is you can't change the culture of people just by changing the law. What happens is the law and the people start to diverge in quite a significant fashion. And so all of these hate crimes, all this hate speech and all this, it's all anathema to ordinary people. So what happens is you don't change people. What you do is you reduce the confidence in the police, reduce the confidence in the courts, reduce the confidence in the government.
And what happens, I always say, trust comes in on foot and leaves on horseback. And trust in politicians, in the police, in various institutions is at an all-time low. That's what we need to do. We need to work out sensible ways of making sure things are enforced.
And like you say, everybody's so frightened of going anywhere near it.
It's crazy.
Because everything's been infiltrated.
And there's somebody who does sometimes, you know, venture into places that are not like where you guys all live.
Where do you will
see poorer places. Are much. There's obviously lots of different kinds of shops, and that would imply that there are a lot more immigrants in poorer places.
What you're saying is that when you create these, what David Starkey calls tribal areas, and I think that's a reasonable point.
Tribal areas.
So
he does call it. That was good.
Yeah. Effectively, what sounds like James Mask.
Like James Mask.
But anyway, what happens is if you are moving to a particular area and not intending to integrate, you have to bring the infrastructure of your own country.
Yes.
Now, whether that's a Polish shop or a mosque or a halal meat shop or whatever, that's what it all is.
Yeah.
And you see this in these poor areas. Yeah. And I have to say, one of the things that upsets me, people like Keir Starmer and all of those guys, they don't have to send their kids to a primary school where one-third of the pupils can't speak English.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's not a reality for them.
And your wages are being held down. The value of your currency is being devalued. House prices are going up, and the education of your children is going down.
And you're quite right, Andre. And the reality is, it's not. People are so quick to slap on a label as soon as you call out the reality. They call you a racist or you're anti-Semite or one of these, and far right, about right so far. Whatever happens, you need to cut through that sort of thing. We should be the nation that is proud to speak out about these things, because actually there's lots of great people as well. We are Great Britain. We need to bring the great back into Britain.
That's a geographical name, by the way, Great Britain.
Where would you hide it?
Cheshunt.
Why is that geographical?
It is, because the island we live on is called Great Britain.
It is Great Britain. But it doesn't work if you say the United Kingdom, does it?
No,
you know? You just say,
it's got to be Great
I'm trying to get the references.
Well, hang on. If you've got, I mean, there's something that annoys me, and we're getting to the break now. But things like the Olympics and whatever, where they go Great Britain. Well, hang on a second. What about Anglesey? What about the Isle of Wight? What about Northern Ireland?
Team
what about
GB?
Skye?
Team UK.
They're not as great.
Can you imagine? I'm sorry. You're from Stornoway. You can't. You can't come. More next.
On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, well, I can't believe this, but and I had to have this explained, so please can somebody help out for the viewers and listeners. The Clifton Suspension Bridge has boycotted Twitter. Andrew, explain.
I know this.
I'll tell you, well, it's now X, isn't it? So many people have, people like The Guardian and so on and so forth have come off, and they're saying, look, it's a toxic environment. I had, every day...
but can I just stop you there? So is this somebody who names themselves?
I know what it is. Because Clifton, when the bridge gets a certain age, it actually develops thoughts. And they've given Clifton Suspension Bridge its own Twitter account, and it was very... I used to see what it thought. It was mainly about cars going across it.
It was giving out information, basically.
It was.
You have to pay to cross the bridge. So I used to live in Bristol, so I know exactly where Clifton Suspension Bridge is. It's very beautiful.
Stunning.
Very beautiful, actually, And if you go to Bristol, it's one thing that's worth going seeing and standing on and driving under. It's beautiful, but basically you have to pay to go over it. There's obviously traffic, and so it's an information thing about how it's running, because there are other routes you can take to avoid going over the bridge. So if there's problems on there, or if I don't know, they would basically
they tweet about it. It's information exchange. But what's happened? I have Errol Musk, the father of Elon, on the Andrew Eborn show every day, and I spoke about it today because
he's on tomorrow with me and James Wales.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
What a tart. He's
He'll come to the opening of an envelope, that man.
Timing me, outrageous. But I spoke to him about this morning because The Guardian have also come off X, and they're working on that sort of basis. And he said, look, they're going to absolutely. So they're going to kick themselves in the head.
It's because Elon Musk is now part of the American government.
That's what he is. Well, he is the
They're not going to win. Do you remember Threads?
I do remember Threads.
And they were bragging, oh, we've got 15 million. That's nothing. Twitter has about 800 million.
Blue sky is the future. Blue sky is the future of this sort of stuff. But it's not as good as X. And people need to work on that basis. They're basically kicking themselves in the foot.
It's the old first to market, isn't it? If you're there, I mean, we've seen people like MySpace and things fail over the years, but I think X has got I think it's there like eBay.
If I'm being honest, though,
don't be honest.
From my own personal opinion of X, so when Elon took, I quite like the bloke. When he took over, suddenly the algorithm, the things it was suggesting from me, I couldn't find people that I'd followed.
It was for your own good, Danielle.
Yeah,
it was for your own good.
But
to reprogram you away from all this.
Maybe.
What were you looking for, Danielle? What were you looking for?
Nothing you think I was looking for.
Do you remember what's his name? Jack Dromey, God rest his soul, who was looking for holidays in Paris, but accidentally found a man with a large willy called Paris and followed all of his tweets and liked them. He claimed he was looking for a holiday. Jack Dromey, yes, he was married to Harriet Harperson.
I do get a lot.
I'm not joking.
Is that right?
So just to be clear, he claimed he was looking for holidays in Paris, but instead found a porn star with a large penis and liked all of his tweets.
Well, no, that's like a night in Paris. I mean, that's that old gag which they did. They worked on that.
So is this because the guy didn't realise that everybody could see that he was liking the?
I think
is that right? And he looked at the one with the donkey 40 times.
Here's the big concern, though. I've done some research because I didn't know a great deal about this, but the Clifton Suspension Bridge is run by the Clifton Suspension Bridge Trust.
Yeah, of course.
And as I always say, every organisation that isn't explicitly right-wing will turn left-wing in the end. One would assume that these people who are tasked with engineering the bridge and making sure that it's safe have now become much more interested in Donald Trump's election than the engineering of their roadway.
This is what I don't understand. It seems ridiculous because it shouldn't be. Whatever. My point being, whatever you think of X, because like I say, I'm not a massive fan. I can see the changes, and they weren't necessarily when he fired all those people. I could actually.
Well, what's Elon? It was his cousin who did it.
Yeah,
but they covered up the Biden laptop. They even kicked the president off Twitter.
The way they now do it, to be fair, is it used to be they would basically take things off. Now they have these community notes, so it means that you can still keep the tweets up there. You still get the traffic and the money, but what happens is that you get these community notes, which is a very good way that you police it yourself.
Better than that BBC verify.
By the way, my favourite ever community note was issued to Matt Twist from the Metropolitan Police, who issued a statement after the protests during Armistice weekend last year, where he said that there had been no examples of anti-Semitism or racism of any type on the Palestinian march. They labelled it as a community notice as fake news. It was his official statement.
By the way, Tower Bridge and Blackfriars Bridge, they're both far right, obviously, and Waterloo's a Lib Dem bridge.
That's right, and you can take your sheep over, you know, if you're free.
You're not taking my sheep over.
Of course,
you are.
Only with my permission.
The bridges are owned by the City Bridge Trust.
That's right.
Because of one king gave his wife the bridges, and they were singing "London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady."
And they did, and they sold the wrong London Bridge, and they're talking about that at the moment as well, aren't they? Because the person who bought it,
it's not really true. That's a myth.
Which is really true. It's in the desert somewhere.
I've seen it. It's in Arizona.
There you
knew
go.
what he was buying. That's sort of a made-up thing.
What do you do?
So what happened was just to explain, they took down London Bridge in the 60s. Many people believe that Tower Bridge is London Bridge. There is a debate. A bloke in Arizona wanted to buy London Bridge. He maintained till his dying day that he bought the bridge he intended to buy. However, I think where the myth came about was when he said, "I've got London Bridge on this housing estate," when people arrived and saw a fairly bog standard concrete.
And they expected the big
towers.
I don't understand. In that story, it's rather like Lego bricks because they had to take it apart. Why didn't he make London Bridge into the shape of Tower Bridge? Because he could have done it that way, which would make far more sense, wouldn't it? Well, it was a good idea.
Very good idea.
We'll come and help you do it.
It's like that pub in Manchester, isn't it? Where's that pub that got moved for Selfridge? And they removed it brick by brick. This historic where Byron was born.
I'll Google that, but I know what you mean. They did move it, yeah. They moved it.
I learned to swim at Smithick playing baths, and now that got taken brick by brick.
Smithfield? Oh,
and it's
my
now,
husband
it's now
was
the
screaming
entrance.
at me right
it's
now.
now the entrance hall to the
Yeah.
Black Country Museum.
Oh, is it? Where
I learned to swim in. Yeah, they took it brick by brick.
They had to take it down after you learned to swim.
Yeah, because it's so historical.
I'll tell you what. Marble Arch was the entrance to Buckingham Palace before the Portland Stone extension was put on.
And there's a secret tunnel underneath that nobody knows about, but they do now. And it worked on that sort of basis.
Do you know that I think the amazing thing about Buckingham Palace is, first of all, it's a lot bigger than it looks.
Yes.
Which is crazy to think, because the small bit is the extension at the front. But the other bit is, somebody asked me once when they came on tour to Britain, they went, what is bigger, the White House or Buckingham Palace? Now, that's a little unfair, because the White House won the smallest presidential palaces in the world.
Yes.
However, how many White Houses could you fit in Buckingham Palace? The answer is 17.
Is that with the garden, you mean?
No,
the garden's massive.
No, forget the garden.
And speaking of that, speaking of Buckingham Palace, today we should pay respects to King Charles. 76th birthday.
I'm going to stop you simply because we've got a slight technical glitch. We're going to go to a break, fix it, and come back.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, the old Wellington pub in Manchester apparently is the pub that was moved brick by brick.
It was.
Amazing. Anyway, sorry, before we go to one of the calls, what were you saying, Andrew?
No, I was just saying, because you're talking about Buckingham Palace, today is King Charles's 76th birthday. Well, actually he has two, so he's actually, 152.
Showing off that he has
152,
two.
that's what And I was there today.
He looks good for it.
I was fantastic. I was there today in the Guards Chapel with the Military Wives Choir singing a brilliant song called November Sunday. And it was just me, and we're rattling on. We've got a picture of it somewhere. They may not be able to bring it up, but had a picture of that sort of stuff. And we had the fantastic
just keep
people.
filling.
And they did it. I keep filling, they're filling. I interviewed the relevant people. They invited me with special thing, and I was just rattling around in this glorious chapel, and we went there, and it's brilliant. What I found out about the Military Wives thing is the big unifier. There are, in fact, 70 Military Wives choirs around the world, and the idea is they all learn the same songs.
It's like a franchise.
It is like a franchise.
KFC.
It is like just like KFC, but without the chicken. Yes, you're right. How does that work?
It's got loads of crispy birds in it.
Very good. But what happens, and the idea is that because you all learn the same songs, and it's Gareth Malone who set it up originally, they go along, and if you get moved, stationed somewhere else, you can come join that choir, and it's a wonderful community.
It's like KFC
really
again, you can work in any.
But I would recommend, the song is lovely, it's called November Sunday. It was written
Can you give us a little bit, because we're having trouble with the video, so if you can just give us a little taste.
We can give a little taste. I will sing it, but they had to pay me royalties, and that would upset everybody. So I think we will get the song because they sing it so beautifully. And
no, we can't get the song.
The video's broken at the moment.
Can I get it on my phone? Will that count?
No,
that would count.
Let's just go to Heather and Gervin, because the show wouldn't be the show without starting with Heather and Gervin and her wise words. Heather, what have you got for us?
And we're putting you through to Danielle.
By the way, give us a ring 03444991000. It's not
She's already started.
Hi, Heather.
Danielle. Well, I'm going to say this to everybody in the whole of the United Kingdom. Welcome to hell, ladies and gentlemen, with this basket government allowing shoplifters, people, Muslims setting fire to buses.
Well, we're allowed, Muslims are allowed, you mean Islamists or people like that?
Totally going wrong.
Extremists.
Heather?
Hello?
Well, what happened? You just stopped. Doesn't work.
What else do you not like?
Well, what's been going on with Leeds riots with that one of the Muslims setting fire to that bus? He didn't get arrested and charged for that.
I think he was actually, yeah. I think he was done for that actually, yeah. Anyway, what else, mate? What else is bad? Give us another thing from your list of things that are bad in hell.
And, everything seems to be going wrong because this country is going to hell. And welcome to hell.
You're going to get arrested for an unclaimed.
You've got to be careful. So, Heather, it's Andrew here. Hello, Heather. It's lovely to meet you. Tell me what you like.
here
Have you got him out?
to take law.
You like what?
That's what we believe in. One law, one rule for everybody.
One rule, you're absolutely right. Wouldn't that be? Because justice is blind. That's the whole idea.
No, it's not anymore.
Well, it's not. It's like one eye. You can't say it's blind. That's outrageous.
Seriously, Heather, stop. Heather, come on. I want to ask you this question.
Yes.
As a barrister.
Yes.
Serious note. I personally think, so as an example, Chris Cabba.
Yes.
The Crown Prosecution Service, had it been a free and fair-minded organisation, would never have put that to court. It was an utterly ludicrous case. The reality is, I don't think justice is fair. I don't think justice is blind. I think there is a two-tier justice. Am I wrong?
Occasionally. But the reality is this. I said it's supposed to be.
No,
you're absolutely right. There are certain things which is clearly not blind. And we're having this two-tier system, which is completely abhorrent.
If I offend somebody on a tweet, the Crown Prosecution Service will prosecute. If I'm Mohammed Al-Fayed or Jimmy Savile and I commit multiple sex offences, they will let me off the hook.
It's crazy, and you have people like Tommy Robinson getting 18 months, even though you've got the things, and it's basically a civil matter because that's what happened. It was say he brutally contempt of court.
Would you say he's a political prisoner? Would you say that? He is, isn't he?
I'll tell you what happened. So basically, what happened? He basically had a documentary called Silenced, which made various accusations against a particular pupil who was, and the original video showed this particular pupil being basically waterboarded. It looked awful.
Yes.
What then emerged is certain things may have been alleged, and he went to court, and they worked out that these accusations in this particular documentary were defamatory, and they said it wasn't true. That's what the court held. They then ordered that you must not show that documentary again, and if you did, it was getting contempt of court. Tommy broadcast it to a number of people. It's out there, this particular documentary, and that was contempt of court, and that's why he was sentenced to contempt of court.
There is a problem, Andrew.
Yes.
That if you make a defamatory statement against me, it is for you to prove in court that the allegation that you're saying is correct. What then comes is the Tommy Robinson situation, which is where the people that would have that he believes would have stood up the allegation had signed non-disclosure agreements and accepted compensation in exchange for not going to court. Now, I think you're going to tell me that he could have subpoenaed them, but no barrister would recommend a hostile defence witness.
I would say that every case is possible to look into, and you should call it out.
Can you overturn a contempt of court if it's a big enough truth that you need to whistleblow?
So the short answer, the best defence to defamation is the truth. Yes. That's what you turn around on that sort of basis. The problem with this, and this is why it gets clouded and that sort of stuff, Tommy Robinson, we talk about free speech and how quick he was sent to court for 18 months. And people say, hang about, that doesn't make sense when certain other people who are convicted of other crimes, they get suspended sentences and so on and so forth. That's when we talk about the two-tier system.
But he was also treated, he was put in solitary and then he was put in a wing
horrible.
with very...
No,
we've had cases, and I won't say which ones they are, of celebrities where allegations are made against them by newspapers, including ones in this building, where, as an example, they couldn't find the other person that they were doing it with, and therefore the newspaper will be sued, and you don't have to stand up and say anything.
And it's really difficult.
And so the problem that Tommy Robinson had was very simply this: the people who had told him, for the sake of the documentary, what had happened, were now no longer willing to go to court.
Yeah, and this is the problem. I had Lawrence Fox on the Andrew Eborn show, and we talked about him because he was a big compatriot of Tommy's. He organised a number of those sort of marches and things like that. He said
he didn't go on the last one, though. Why didn't he go on the last one?
Well, he was saying... I'll tell you why he didn't. Because he didn't know the people...
he doesn't live in London.
No, he doesn't.
And his car was broken.
No, what he said, he didn't know the people on it, and he thought they might be extreme and hijack that particular side. In the end, they were absolutely... They had a concern. We have to have the right to peacefully protest. This is what he was saying. He wants to get rid of the defamation laws. He thinks that people should basically duel, which I think is quite a nice concept.
I've got a solution. It's something that, and God bless our friends in this building, would not want it, nor would our friends at the Independent Press Standards Organisation. A waste of time. Don't bother going with them. Here is the solution to defamation. It's really simple. You allow the claims to be made in a small claims court.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
And all you do is you just say, right, well, my local paper said that I was accused of running somebody over. That's not true. They're going to withdraw it, issue an apology, and give me £100 compensation.
And wouldn't that be so much easier? The problem with most litigation, I always refer to this wonderful 18th century cartoon by Jay Bright, which shows litigation. It shows that a cow with the word litigation on, you have the plaintiff pulling the horns of the cow, the defendant pulling the tail, and you have the lawyer milking it. Because only the legal profession benefits.
The problem is, I'll tell you, I was badly defamed by the Mail on Sunday, and one particular journalist who hounded me for months.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you, everything that was said about me was untrue. But anyway, somebody said to me, if it's untrue, why not sue? Because I haven't got £500,000.
And that's the problem. We need to have a justice system. Going back to, is justice blind? We need to have a justice system which is accessible to all.
Yeah.
You should not be prevented from getting justice because you can't afford it. And that's the biggest concern that I've got.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, well, look, in America, it's always the way, isn't it? It's even worse. Yes, that's what it's worse.
This was the King's
Prince
song.
Charles thing off his phone.
Don't worry, there hasn't been a choir just walking.
We're going to get the proper. When we can get the VHS working, we'll get it.
Can we look? Okay, yeah. So you know the do you know what the producer has said?
What?
I'm very sorry, nobody's interested in Andrew's song. We are interested.
It was the military.
You have to go to the break, Andrew.
Max Strength. Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, this is The Late Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. Thank God that bit didn't go.
Yes. It's the bits in between that we talk about. I love it.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so we're doing a Call Danielle, are we? Wayne in Lincolnshire. You're through to Danielle Nicholls. Go for it.
The Lincolnshire Poacher.
Hi, Daniel. Hi, Andrew.
It's Danielle.
He said
Daniel. He said Daniel. He did say hi. He did. It was an Elton
She's a
John
girl. It's
moment.
Danielle.
Elton John moment.
I identify as a woman.
Did I get you? And it's Andrew, yeah?
Yes, that's right. Nice. Thank you. Lovely to see you.
Nice to meet you, Wayne.
Nice to meet
Andrew,
you.
he, him, he declares himself as.
Hershey. I love my chocolate.
Oh, yeah, Hershey.
Well,
I see.
It's took me a bit of a while to think about this, the topic about benefits.
Yeah.
And
How long?
because it took me a long time, Ash. But I can't see the problem with it. I think it hasn't done me no harm for 50 years.
What hasn't? The benefit system?
Yeah, I grab life with both hands. I worked and I grabbed the benefits for the other one.
You work and you grab your benefits.
What do you do that through fraud, or is it a legitimate system?
Well, it is. Yeah, I mean, when I used to, then you'd sign up. I'd park the lorry a couple of streets down, change of clothes, go in there.
Oh, so you're saying you defrauded the system?
Oh, yes.
But you've been in prison twice for the TV licence, haven't you? So, I mean, you're an outlaw, aren't you, Wayne? I mean,
Is that you, Wayne?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Ash,
You're like Robin Hood.
Wayne,
when we first met 4 years ago, Ash, you named me the Lincolnshire Poacher.
Did I?
Is that
Yeah, I know, I've called him now. I thought someone else did.
so Wayne's a regular on the show. Is this what happens?
Yeah.
This is the...
Do you think you get away with that now, Wayne?
When we want to know about low-level crime, Wayne, phone
Yes.
Do you still do that? Do you still do that?
It's not easy to come on here and talk about it, really.
Yes.
But,
Well, you mustn't do it. We must advise.
No, you obviously not advise. So what can they do to stop it, Wayne? If you're the expert, what advice would you give?
Because I
to
thought
people
truckers'
into policing?
wages got better since Brexit. They had their standards raised.
Yes.
well, there's nothing to stop it because, back on the day, I mean, I had to do a lot of ducking and diving because they used to send the police out on fields, used to have a squad from the Department of Security. They'd come and swipe over the fields and grab you. And
Swipe over the fields and grab you.
There's certain things that... My mum used to work in the job centre, and apparently, if someone came in and clearly had work clothes on...
Yes.
And things like that. They're not idiots, are they? But that's the silly thing nowadays, because now you're not having to go into a job centre.
Well,
because that doesn't happen anymore.
No, you're right.
And I think that is a big mistake, and it's a mistake on many
10 years
fronts.
ago,
You're not having to converse with another person, which you should be doing if you're doing job interviews and things like that. So you're getting out of the habit of doing that and communicating with other people. So that's a problem. Yes. Obviously, as in fraud, it's got to be easier to pull the wool over people's
Danielle,
eyes.
I went to a boxing club in Liverpool and I was going, can we film over here? And they were going, yeah, no problem, mate, just let us clear out the way. Hey, lads, they're going to start filming here in a minute. Those of you who can't be on camera, get out of the way. They went, those 4 are on disability.
I reckon, however, Wayne's very clever and he's winding us up because I reckon he wouldn't fraud. He wouldn't come on here because what will happen that they know how to track it down.
Oh, no, he would.
Do you reckon? Is that what he says?
Well, Wayne, why don't you work full time? You know, if you can do the jobs.
The thing is, I greedy. I mean, I used to collect the benefits. I used to collect my wages. I collect my milk.
I think you'd struggle to collect your wages nowadays unless you were obviously
that's true. But people won't come on. I thought, well, as long as you don't go too hard on me, I'll tell you where it is. That COVID come in, the guys don't have to go and sign in, like Daniel rightly pointed out. There's no face-to-face now, so...
But hang on a second, Wayne, let me ask you this. On a serious note, if you're somebody who is, you've done your poaching, you've done your TV licence, you've done your low-level benefits fraud or whatever, do you not think at the end of all of it, actually, had I had a proper job and concentrated on that, I'd probably be financially better off?
He probably wouldn't.
If you put the amount of energy you clearly
He was living the
into
life of Riley on dole and money, weren't you?
Well, I think I could answer. I did have a proper job. But it was not stamp. I haven't paid nothing into the system, not at all.
Oh, what you're saying is when you're talking about low-paid jobs in this country, they're so badly paid and people are struggling so much that effectively you're forced into being a benefit cheat. I mean, look, I don't condone that, but I definitely understand it.
Well, yes, yeah. Well, I've had a life of Riley. I've brought 4 children up on the benefits. They don't want for note. I don't want for note.
Okay, well, congratulations. I mean,
well, yeah.
All right, Cindy is in Michigan. Cindy, I
think it's a shame because I don't think that's representative of hopefully of your standard talk TV viewer. I think that most people don't want to be dishonest like that.
Because the reality is somebody else has to pay for it.
Exactly.
And I think if everybody does the fair system, and when we talk about heating or eating, or you're turning around, pensioners are going to freeze this winter because they've had that allowance.
The benefit system should be there to support people because bad times, hard times don't happen for people.
But
if you need to turn to that, and you've got, I have got a friend who's going through a very bad situation who would never have seen her future.
The people listening.
No,
are you talking about yourself here?
No,
but
I'm
you don't want to say
she would never have envisaged that she'd have to be claiming benefits. Yes. But it's just a temporary measure.
No, and you need to make sure the system is right to make sure that those people are looked after.
Yeah.
So I think that's right. And I think that's right. There will be people watching this who will be turning around and say, we need these benefits.
The majority of people, I believe. I hate it when people assume that everybody on benefits are all taking the mickey.
Yeah, but the problem is...
No, it's only 80%.
The whole system...
No, it isn't.
The whole system takes the mick. Because what we do is we bring migrants to the country to keep the wages down, and then we can only keep people alive by paying them benefits when they're on low wages. So the whole thing just goes round and round and round.
Just seems ridiculous.
And people are talking about Starbucks, and they go, Starbucks don't pay this tax, not tax. Can I tell you, the only reason why you can buy a coffee in Starbucks in Windsor for £4 is because the in-work benefits and the housing benefits of the guy serving it to you. I have to pay £4 for your £4 bloody coffee.
Oh, bargain, £4. Central London
just take a flask. Just take a flask with you. Cindy in Michigan, she's a typical talk TV listener.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Danielle. Hello. Danielle, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see you.
I'm happy to be here.
I wanted to talk to you guys about the speech that Trump recently made about transgender laws. I'll tell you, he made me so proud.
He's going to say there's just 2 sexes and he's going to ban hormone treatment and teaching of it in schools and everything, and everyone's a bit scared now.
And also, So, yeah, they should be.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's going to also do research into Big Pharma and all the agencies that made a lot of money off of our children.
Another thing I've heard he's going to do, all these district attorneys in different states that are trying to get him, he's now declaring that lawfare is going to be illegal. He's going to put them in jail, so they've all stopped their.
And he also said,
never underestimate the President of the United States.
Well, we should do that. Do you think they're worried here about that? Because we might do that in 4 years' time.
I think it's interesting. Well, you make a brilliant point, Cindy, as well. The other thing he talks about during his whole campaign was he called it a climate hoax. And obviously we've got COP27 going on at the moment, and that whole sort of thing, and turning around and saying he's going to save all this money, he's not going to do that anymore, as well as these other sort of policies.
Isn't it 29?
Really into 29, yeah, but plus VAT. So COP29.
These days,
and that's what happened. And they all flew in. They all flew in on that sort of basis to talk about it. But Trump has called it out. But the people are looking very worried. I do think, and I don't know what you think, Cindy, I do think the world's going to be a safer place with Trump in charge, don't you?
I sure do. 100%. 100%. And I think a lot of this transgender stuff, the changes that Trump's going to make, are going to pass on to your country. I just feel it.
The Taliban have already given up, haven't they? China want to make good with America. Putin wants to give up. Hamas have been kicked out of Qatar, and Hamas want to, they're all rolling over because they know what's coming.
And Zelensky was called by both Elon Musk and Trump, wasn't he, to try and make that sort of sorted. Fascinating stuff, Cindy. So you think the world's a better place? Are you pleased to see the back of Biden?
Yeah, you don't have to ask.
He was loving it, though. Biden was loving it, wasn't he? That Kamala lost.
Yeah, they looked like they were having, when they were meeting Trump and Biden, they looked like they were having a romance. A bromance.
Oh, Biden wouldn't know where he was.
What's the feeling?
I want to say to Danielle something before you let me go.
Okay, go
on. I want to say, Danielle, you're just like an old friend, and Talk TV isn't the same.
She seems like that. She's not like that at all. It's just an act. But what's it like the feeling the feeling on the streets in where you are? Is it optimistic now?
You know what, people, I'm catching a lot of hate.
Oh.
Because you walk around with that MAGA hat on.
I do.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy that. Enjoy the hate.
There's just, I don't care. I don't care. It's ridiculous. This woke. All the people who spoke and voted are the majority, and we won. So they're just haters because they lost.
Yeah, exactly, like babies, aren't they? Rolling around on the floor.
And you're so right, Cindy, and it's a massive disrespect to the 74 million people who voted.
I can't even tell you.
Democracy.
They call it populism.
They make judgments on who we are as people, what we stand for, what's important.
You cannot deny.
We're all one person. We're all just one mind.
Yeah, you cannot deny that a guy who was given the worst ever press you could ever imagine.
Yes.
They literally.
They call him Hitler.
Made him a criminal.
Well, even his running mate did. Yes, absolutely.
He was and then the guy still wins.
But that backfired on him, didn't it?
No. J.D. Vance, which sounds like a cheap department store. Yeah. In 2016, he called him he called him the American Hitler.
But it all backfired. This lawfare and calling him Hitler, everyone saw through it.
What happened? He handled it brilliantly because he turned around and said...
The guy got shot and he's still here.
Well, no, what J.D. Vance said is that the press misrepresented it. It was a big example of how the press sort of was misrepresenting everything. That's what he also said. He had the road to Damascus moment when President Trump, as he then was, basically became president. He said it was so good. It's interesting. It'd be interesting your view on this, Cindy. What do you think when David Lammy has said, our foreign secretary, has said all those things about Trump? What do you think about his comments?
You know what? Okay, I think behind the scenes he's going to be asked to apologize.
No, he's been asked, not behind the scenes, he's been asked on the...
Always remember the quiz question.
But I think, what do I think about him?
He's just an idiot. He should just quit anyway.
But I think that for a politician, he's not a good politician. He didn't think before he spoke.
It's not very smart, is it?
Well, look at his clip on Mastermind, how thick he is.
Okay, so clip on Mastermind. Which Mary invented medical radioactive isotopes and X-rays? He had said Marie Antoinette.
and then he
answered each cake.
And who followed Henry VIII? He said Henry VII.
Who Who was the son of Henry VIII?
Stalker followed him. It's going to be good.
Who was the son of Henry VIII? Henry VII.
I love it.
I mean, even if you, just go for Henry the Ninth. I admit, Henry the Ninth is not the answer.
No, but I'd still let it go at Henry the Ninth.
But at least Henry the Ninth would have been logical.
Going down, absolutely.
And that's our foreign secretary.
The problem is with David Lammy is he's a moron.
There you go.
Is that the only problem?
No.
Pretty big one, though.
He might be born. It's got to be good.
Also, no one in his family have ever had a proper job, have they?
Is that right? Oh,
they're all public sector-y, dodgy, on benefits-y.
Is Wayne in his family?
He also described himself as the British Obama.
Oh, did he? Oh, you've got to be careful.
What if Obama was twice the size and thick as pig shit? All right. Thank you so much, Cindy. We've got to say goodbye
who's on
to
the line?
Andrew.
David what?
We will see you. We'll see you very soon. Andrew Eborn, who's a futurist and barrister. Please do call the show.